Hi there, Lloyd Machedo. Speaking to you from LloydMachedo.com. Who is Lloyd Machedo and Think Personal Branding? I got this email from one of my regular viewers on YouTube. He is a well-wisher of mine. So he sent me 10 questions that he had with regards to resume. So I thought, okay, fine, since you're my regular, why not answer the question? So these are 10 questions that he has asked me with regards to resume rebranding. And I'll put them below in the comment section so you can see the questions, and here are the questions. So let's quickly move on. Number one, the first question is okay, what he says. He says, "Dear Lloyd, first of all, I would like to give you a big thank you because of your guidance as a pathfinder." Pathfinder sounds like a car. Mentor, ... whatever. I have listed some of my doubts. When you're free, then and there, fix this question. So he wants me to fix the question. Okay, the first question is, how many bullet points should I write in experience section for a single company? Now, you need to understand the functionality of bullet points. The purpose of putting a bullet points is for you to be brief, not to go on and try to be grammatically very accurate and give a long story. It's to get to the point. I normally would recommend, let's say, for example, if it's early on and you're giving a profile summary, I would say 3 bullet points. If you're giving something that needs a little bit more description, say 5, you go in multiples of 3, 5, 7, 9, that way. Now, if you're coming to experience, the first point of wisdom, which I'll tell you, is state only what is required. Don't just go on just for the sake of it. The second point is state the best and most valuable thing at the top, and then keep going down in sequence. And last, if not the least, I always use the phrase, when in doubt, leave it out. So if there is something that you're putting just for the sake of putting and you don't feel adds any value, don't put it. So normally, how many bullet points? If you'd ask me, I would say don't go beyond 7. Don't go beyond 7. That is the range that I would put, let's say, for experience. However, if you are doing something really so incredible, so technical, or so complicated, I would say divide it, whatever skill that you have, into subheadings. So that's what I would normally do. Don't give too many points. And remember, if you go beyond 9, then it's, person starts to wonder, what is he trying to tell me? You cannot be so gifted and so talented that you can have more than, 7 key areas that you really are good or you can contribute, because you can't be good at everything. So in answer to your question, number 1, how many bullet points should I write the experience section? I would say limit it down 7 to 9. That's about it. Don't go beyond that. Okay. And even for a single company, also keep it at that range, 5 to 7. The second one, in the bullet points, should I write bullet points or day-to-day responsibilities? Your question is not phrased properly. In the bullet points, should I write bullet points or day-to-day responsibilities? Now, I'm trying to assume what you're asking me is, when you mention your experience, should you mention your day-to-day responsibilities? Now, let's assume the day-to-day responsibilities is checking into the office on time, sending emails, faxing, filing, achieving your sales target, reporting to the boss, taking calls, customer service. These are normal day-to-day stuff, like coordinating, coordinating, say, effort between different departments, communicating between different departments, heads. So you don't have to actually mention all this because it doesn't make any sense. Like some people like to mention, I was very hardworking, I was very dedicated, I reported to the office on time, I achieved my sales targets every month. You're expected to do that. So don't put stuff that is predictable, boring, and low value. Put something that really makes you stand out. For example, instead of saying, I achieved my sales targets every month, you need to state something that really stands out. In the last, let's say, out of the 12 months, 7 months, I was awarded Best Salesperson of the Month. Okay, I achieved 15% higher, 20% higher than the target that was given to me. So there, something new comes out and that adds value. Or you can even say that you are part of a project and, so state something that gives additional value. Don't state day-to-day responsibilities. Okay. Number three, is it mandatory to write marital status or not? I really do not understand the function of someone writing whether they are married or they are single. It really doesn't make sense. However, keep this in mind. If you're talking of the airline industry and if you're a lady, especially in the Middle East, they prefer having women who are single. They don't want girls getting pregnant because then it breaks their contract. So I personally don't think your marital status is important and it shouldn't be stated, especially for a man. I mean, what's anyone's business whether you're married, you're single, you're separated, you're having an affair, you're staying with someone else's wife? It's none of anyone's business. It's a personal thing and it's not required. I do not see any reason why a company needs to know this. Okay. Like I told you, the only difference being is if you are in the hospitality or in the aviation sector, especially in the Middle East, like Qatar, Emirates Airlines, Etihad, they are very particular that the girls should be single, should not want to get pregnant, should not want to get married, which is a violation of human rights. Then question number 4, sir, I have total 8 years experience. Then it is not possible in 2-page CV. What to do? If you have a powerful resume, let's say, for example, one single line, if you state that I graduate from Harvard Business School, you don't have to elaborate much on that. Let's say, for example, you state that you are the #1 salesman in your company. You don't have to elaborate much more than that. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to create 2 pages for the hell of creating 2 pages. If you can summarize all your information in 1 page, great. So that's what is important. Question number 5, how many colors should we put in the CV? I would say limit it to 2 colors. That's about it. One can be to make the, let's say, background kind of bold or to give it a little bit of visual appeal. And then black, which is the standard. Don't go beyond that. Okay. Number 6, how is the job sector in schools and colleges? Schools and colleges, there will always be a demand for these services because, this is something for children. So there will always be a demand. However, in case of education, it's not an industry that pays very well, unless, of course, you're a PhD and you're teaching colleges or you're part of an Ivy League and you're a writer and you are a thought leader. Only then you can expect to get real good money. Otherwise, don't expect to be paid very well. The salaries that they offer in colleges and schools is really, really bad. Okay. Question number 7. I have total 8 years experience and qualifications and masters in technology, education and training. What is the salary for this profile? Okay. First one is, what is the salary for this profile? It depends which country. It depends where you're applying. It depends which company. Okay. It also depends on your ability to take leadership roles. It depends on your communication skills and your personality. Okay. So what is the salary for this role? I've explained it. Okay. Next one. Question number 8. What are the different selection criteria in government schools versus international schools versus private schools in the UAE? Government schools, they prefer the highest qualification. They normally prefer white, that is Western teachers. They don't prefer Asians. That is the most, that is without a doubt. They prefer local citizens, and then they prefer international teachers that come from the West. Okay, because they believe they are much more better. Then in terms of international schools, more or less the same. However, if you're a nation, you need to really be top of the game in order to be employed. Private schools, it depends on which school that you're applying for. The contracts can vary. And yes, they do take a lot of Asians there. So that is a selection criteria. Remember, the more education, the more experience that you have always helps. But remember this, government schools, like I told you, white skin, international, white skin, or you have to be a PhD or someone really, you need to stand out from the rest of the crowd. Private schools, they'll just take out any Tom, Dick and Harry. Question number 9. Suppose that there is a vacancy in a GEMS school, a GEMS group that is it's pretty wide in the Middle East. Okay. How many times should I apply to their website? Keep in mind, the companies that have an application that is sent to you online, that you can apply online, they have, depends on the software, depends on the technology that they have. There is an ability for them to track that if you have applied and you're constantly applying, then if you constantly apply, then you are put in the spam folder or you'll be blocked. However, if you have applied once and there is no response, then I would say give it a gap of a couple of months and then apply again. Don't keep applying week after week, every day. Maybe you're not qualified, maybe they don't want you. Then the more you apply, the more your chances of being a nuisance and a spammer. And last question is, suppose I have 3 years of experience in CBSE, that is the Central Bureau of Secondary Education curriculum. Can I apply IB curriculum, IGCSE curriculum, and ICSE? It all depends on the institute. It all depends on the school, the university. All depends on the country. I would say if subjects are more or less the same, I don't see any problem in teaching under different curriculums. However, in most of the countries, they want you to be qualified and prove your qualification based on certain criteria that they have, certain tests. So you can't just, wake up one day and start teaching in Canada or start teaching in the US, start teaching in the Middle East, unless, of course, they have evaluated your profile, given you a series of tests, made you prove your qualification expertise only then. So these are the 10 questions from one of my normal regular viewers and supporters. I hope this answers your question with regards to CVs and application for jobs. So like the video, give it a thumbs up. Don't like it, thumbs down. This is me signing off for now. Take care.